What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Ryan Memes Gaming, and welcome finally to a new video. I know it has been quite the while since I last made a video. I'm sorry, guys. I have had zero time to record for anything. I'm sorry, but I'm here now, and I'm gonna make a video. Okay, as you guys have seen by the title and thumbnail, we're going to be doing a review on the brand new game Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Okay, guys. Brand new game, Resident Evil. You know I love the series. I'm a big fan. I love everything about it. Resident Evil Village is my favorite game, Resident Evil wise. And I just want to talk about this game. It's been a couple of days since I've watched the last episode. I was, as you guys know, unfortunately, I couldn't get Resident Evil 9 on the channel just because I don't own a modern console that supports it, which is unfortunate. But I did end up watching Ape Ryan's gameplay of the series. If you guys don't know who he is an amazing YouTuber. I highly recommend you go watch his series if you haven't already. It's really good, and I feel like I learned a lot, and I can give a fairly good review. Obviously, my thoughts are going to change over time because it's a very new game. I haven't played it myself yet. There's still a lot of nostalgia tax, a lot of hype tax still around the game. I'm trying to think of like how good of a game is it actually minusing all that. So like, for example, I'm watching Josh Zerka's series right now, his playthrough of the game, because he doesn't know anything about Resident Evil really. So it's like I'm trying to get more perspectives of it, but I'm going to give my personal thoughts on it. Alright, if you guys are ready for this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Subscribe to my other channels, Ryan Memes and Scrolling Lyrics, for even more content. The links to those channels are on my channel bio, so share this video with everyone you know, turn on post notifications so you don't miss out what I upload. And at the end of this video, comment down below what you liked about it, what you didn't like, and what you want to see from me next time. Boom, still got it. Alright, starting off, we got Grace Ashcroft. Okay, straight away, new character, new face. I mean, kind of new character. The daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft. I think Grace is an absolutely amazing character. She does stutter quite a lot, which I mean I do too as well, so I can't really blame her. But it got a little annoying towards it. But overall, that's like the only thing about Grace that I didn't like. Everything else was pretty good. The only thing I would maybe say is like I kind of wish she had a bit more of a character arc in terms of like, you know, at the beginning, she's very scared. She's stuttering all the time. She doesn't really know what to do. She's like panicking and all that. I kind of wish her maybe like toward the end of the game, she kind of changed up a little bit. I mean, she does a little bit. I just kind of wish it was a little bit more. Like I'm being super nitpicky on that. Like it's just a tiny little thing like I'm saying. But overall, yeah, she is like a 9 out of 10 character. She was amazing throughout the game. Really enjoyed her character. One thing I will say, with Alyssa Ashcroft specifically, I'm kind of disappointed with her character. I wish she was in the game more. She was literally in the game for like a total of 6 minutes or something like that. Like 3 minutes in the beginning, 3 minutes at the end. I mean, to be fair, her last cutscene with the interview with Spencer and stuff was a good plot point and a good story place. But I kind of wish they didn't kill her off so quickly. Like, I kind of wish we saw a little bit more of her and Grace's interactions. Not even like in a horror aspect, just like before everything happened. Like, I would have really liked to seen that and kind of like give more sense. Like, why were they in the hotel? Actually, I just thought about that. Why were they in the Renwood Hotel? Like, maybe she was conducting an interview. I think that's actually what it was. Sorry guys. Yeah, it's been a couple days since I watched it, so maybe some little like plot points I might have forgotten a little bit, so you can let me know in the comments and stuff like that. But besides that, it's like, yeah, very good. Redwood Hotel really built up the atmosphere of the rest of this game, like set the tone and stuff. Gave me very heavy RE7, RE8 vibes at the beginning, like the survival horror, like even like down to like the gameplay. Like, if like one thing I will say about this game, it takes so many like little elements from each Resident Evil title and adds them into this game. Like, I remember as I was watching the series, I was like, oh, that part reminds me of RE2, or like, oh, that part reminds me of RE6, that part reminds me of Village. So I really like how they included so many different aspects of other Resident Evil games that we all love. The way I would kind of describe this game is like a fan service to everyone who's been following for the last 30 years in this series. I think that's the best way to describe this game. It takes everything that we love about Resident Evil and put it into one massive title. Actually, speaking of massive title, I was kind of disappointed at the runtime, I will say. Again, I haven't played it myself, so I don't know the actual runtime for how long it would be for me. But I watched April Ryan's playthrough, and he does like a very like a completionist style gameplay. He does pretty much all the side quests that you can do besides like the final puzzle and a couple other things, but he pretty much does like 95% of the game. And his runtime was, I believe, like 10 hours or just over 10 hours, which is the same as his village run through, which kind of made me like, wait, what? How did this finish so quickly? Because the rumors were, and again, these are rumors, that the game was going to be like 16 hours or something like that. I've heard a couple people say that it took them 12 hours to beat this game. Some I saw said like 8, some said like 10. I don't really know how it's such a variance, but we'll take it as it was a good enough game. I think if the game was 16 hours, I actually might have liked it a bit less, just because I think the pacing of this game was really, really well done. Like really, really well done. And then, yeah, you move into the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center. That part was pretty freaking good. Like, I'm rewatching it right now in Josh's playthrough. He's currently in the care center. So, like, seeing this again, it's like, it actually is quite a tense area. It's quite difficult, especially for a new player. Like, I could imagine someone really struggling with this part. Maybe not as much as Josh. I'm going to make a video on that on my main channel once he finishes this series. If you guys have watched my channel for a little while, you might know what video I'm talking about. But I think the Chronic Care Center overall, pretty good. Like, I'll give it like a solid 8 out of 10 in terms of like a setting. I see some people on like Reddit and stuff were saying this is some of the best bits of Ori that we've seen in many years, which is I can see it, but I think personally since it's so recent, like I don't think I have enough time to fall in love with that area, so I'll give it a little bit of time. A new character, we have Victor Gideon. He was really cool. I think he was a pretty solid villain. I think at the end, if you guys, spoiler warning, if you guys already don't know, it would be in the title, but yeah, spoilers. He becomes like a nemesis tyrant, not a tyrant, but like he becomes a nemesis at the end of the game. He's like, apparently, I think he had like some sort of nemesis mutation in him, which is crazy. And then the final boss battle is him as like the Resident Evil 3 nemesis final boss battle, which was kind of cool, but also kind of unnecessary in my opinion. But overall, Gideon, pretty cool character. I do like him. I think he was a good enough villain. He fits well into the story. It makes a lot of sense. His connections with like Spencer and stuff like that, with Umbrella. His own experimentations with the T-virus, creating the mutations of this new enemy. Him like trying to collect Grace for Elpis and all that. I think it was pretty good. What was I going to say? Emily is also one of the new characters, and Marie, I guess you can say. I think Emily was pretty cool. I like it. I didn't see anything wrong with her character. I think it was actually pretty good. The whole section in the orphanage with her again. No, not with her. I think actually it was meant to be like the Grace clone thing. I'm definitely going to get into that part because that part makes no sense to me. Or like just the orphanage section, I think it was pretty good. And then Chronic Care Center, it does remind me of like RE7 with the Baker House and like in the RPD. I think it was pretty good. Obviously, everyone knows the highlight of this game is obviously Leon freaking Scott, Big PP Kennedy. Okay, he is the GOAT. He is obviously the main character. He's what everyone wants to see, and his character is done so freaking well. I love Leon in this game. He's actually, I would argue, this is my favorite Leon we've had. Like, in terms of RE2, RE4, RE6, I think this is the best Leon we've had, okay? And, so good. One thing I will say about this game, a lot of people are comparing his combat to RE4's combat. I honestly think, now, hear me out, okay? Hear me out. Leon's part of this game is what a Resident Evil 6 remake could have been. What Resident Evil 6 could have been. Okay? Disagree with me all you like. I think I'm in the right here. Resident Evil 9 is what Resident Evil 6 could have been. Am I right or am I right? Okay, I think the combat in this game is so reminiscent of RE6. It's just done a million times better. It's not repetitive. It's not boring. It's so fun. It's so addictive. It's so satisfying. It's like, it's a bit of a mix again. Like, as I was saying, this game is such a mix of every Resident Evil game. Like, it's a bit of RE2 satisfactory in the killing. RE4 is like faster paced stuff, and then RE6 is like variety in ways you can take out enemies and stuff like that. So yeah, I think this game, Leon's Fire is so elite. And then obviously we have the main selling point of this game, which is Raccoon City and the RPD. I think this part of the game is an absolute... I did not voice crack. I did not voice crack there. If any of you pointed out, I will come to your house and murder you. Raccoon City's part in this game is the highlight. It's an absolute 10 out of 10. Again, I'm saying it's what RE6 could have been. This is RE6 perfected. I'm just saying, this is what... If RE6 was done like this, it could have honestly been one of the best Resident Evil games out there. I'm not... Fight me if I'm wrong. I don't think I am when I say that. Raccoon City, I mean, like, what can I say? What is there anything to fault in this part? There isn't. Like, I'm actually trying to think, like, is there anything bad about this part of the game? I really don't think so. The only thing I wish is if there was more. I mean, can't even blame them. Like, the only thing I could say is maybe, like, a couple of side quests extra. Like, I don't know, something like reminiscent of, like, a merchant request or something like that. Maybe they could have done that, but besides that, I mean, like, yeah, this section, that whole, like, part of the game is an absolute 10 out of freaking 10. It's so modern, it's so perfected, the atmosphere is perfect, everything about it, like, bringing back the spider boss from, like, RE2 original is so cool. Going back to the RPD, Mr. X, Tofu, like, all the little references, Xeno. Okay, yeah, we'll get into Xeno in a second, okay? But yeah, Raccoon City, I think maybe the only thing, maybe they could have, like, added a little bit more from, like, RE3. Because, like, I think, where were we in RE3? I think it's, like, Raccoon City, it's not Raccoon City Center, RE3. Is it ever specified where in Raccoon City RE3 is set? I don't know, but, like, wherever that was, I think they could have included that into Requiem. That could have been something they added. But, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much perfect. Also, yeah, now onto Xeno. This is where the game kind of fell off for me, okay? Everyone, we had Xeno. We all saw him as the Wesker coming back. This whole game is like a big thing about, like, cloning and transferring consciousness into other bodies. We've already had this sort of stuff in Resident Evil for quite a while. People have been theorizing about it since, like, Resident Evil 5. We had the Shadows of Rose DLC with all that stuff. Like, we know cloning is a thing. I think it was in Code Veronica as well. I might be wrong on that. But we know cloning is, like, a big thing in Resident Evil that exists. So, we're all like, is it actually Wesker? Or is it, like, someone, like, imitating Wesker? We didn't really know. When we had, in the Raccoon police department, we had the big scene of when Xeno was dodging the bullets just like him in RE5, and then saying that I don't have time to spare line. Like, genuinely, when that scene came up, my legs were shaking. Like, I was doing some mental moves, like. And then when Mr. X came in, like, I literally jumped out of my seat when Mr. X came into the game. It was so peak. It was incredible. Like, I will admit that this game does rely quite heavily on the nostalgia tax and stuff like that, like bringing back the old characters and stuff like that. But that's one thing I'm trying to, like, understand is this game actually that good when you minus all of that stuff? That's why I'm watching Zerka's playthrough mainly, is, like, kind of seeing if the game is actually just a good game for those who don't really care about Resident Evil and stuff like that. Like, is it actually just a good video game? So far, yeah, really. I kind of had my doubts at the beginning, but watching it through, it's like, it is actually just a really good game. Like, it just does everything well, you know what I mean? And then we continue on. Next part is in Ark. arc, at first I was kind of like about it, but then over time I'm like, yeah, you know what, it fits. It's the standard Resident Evil Umbrella Lab nest, whatever you want to call it, final section. You know, we had the Lickers come back, we had the elite Umbrella soldiers, we had Hunk, or who should be Hunk, it has to be. I will speak on Hunk in a second as well, though. I have a very interesting theory about him. But that whole section was really cool. Eventually at the end we see Grace with the disc, and you get to see the interview with Spencer and Alyssa, and then the ending where you get the whole Opus thing. Like, oh my god, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, screw it, I'll do it. Okay, you get to the Elpis section. The whole game we've been thinking Elpis is this bad thing. It's the biggest virus of all time. It's going to be indestructible, indestroyable. It's just going to be this mass weapon of destruction, and we have to make the decision on whether to release it or to destroy it. By the way, I want to say, I thought you should have released it, okay? I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Leon is going to die if you destroy it. I don't want that. We should release it. And I was correct, okay? I want to say, I made a good decision. But, oh my god, if you chose to destroy it, spoiler warning, they kill Leon! What? Xeno literally kills Leon in that part. And it's like, and if you guys, I won't spoil it, but watch April Ryan's playthrough, okay? Watch that, okay? But seeing Leon actually dead, like, obviously that's not the canon ending, but just the simple fact of seeing Capcom do that was pretty interesting, to be honest. Like, I'm surprised they actually like showed it to our faces. It's like, it's obviously it's a twist and it's not real or it's not canon, but it opens the possibility. It does. But then, yeah, I mean, then when you release Elpis, and then Gideon comes back, Xeno injects himself, then it's an antiviral, it cures everything. If you saw Spencer's interview, it says that sort of stuff, shows his remorse, which I think is kind of an interesting take, by the way. I'll quickly touch on that. I think the whole thing about Spencer actually feeling remorseful for what he's done and then creating Elpis is kind of a good change to the Resident Evil lore. I've never played Resident Evil 5 myself, but I believe in the Lost in Nightmares DLC, it's kind of like Spencer in that whole game is pretty much talking about like how he is still evil and he wants to unleash like the virus onto the world. He like proclaims himself as like a god. And then to see this change, I actually do prefer, which it does open the door for a Resident Evil 5 remake to then change Spencer's whole like personality, at least towards the end of his life, which I would like to see. I think that's a good change from the original lore. And then yeah, I think Xeon dying like kind of not nonchalantly, but like kind of like what's the word? Like also suddenly. I think that was kind of a weird choice by Capcom, like just to kill off, like Gideon was like a good villain and all, but we all thought that Xeno was gonna be like the big bad villain at the end of the game, but then he just ends up dying in like a split second once he goes back to being a normal human. Like, I mean, I get it, but it's also kind of like, dang bro, like you could have given him something. He just gets D'd down, if you know what I mean. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know what I mean. I'm ranting on like crazy. But then you have the ending. I think, okay, I'm going to say this part right here. That ending cutscene, like just before Leon and Grace and Emily get saved after the boss battle, that scene where like Leon sits next to Grace, is like, I'm going to be here next to you. That scene genuinely might be the best cutscene in Resident Evil history. Again, fight me if I'm wrong. I truly think so. Like, I'm thinking about it. That ending sequence, that like ending pies, perfect. Everything about it. It made me dang near emotional when I saw it. I was like, "Ooh!" It hit the nerve. It hit the nerve. And yeah, I think that's like the best scene in Resident Evil history. I can't even lie. It was perfection, in my opinion. And that's pretty much the end of the game. that's my little review. I'm going to go into some of the pros and cons about this game. There's a few cons I do want to point out and some theories I have at the end of it. I think pros, this game looks like it's really smooth, and I prefer this game in a way because I think this game is slightly more naturally challenging in comparison to the other Resident Evil games. Like, the combat in this does actually seem kind of tough, especially when you're as Grace in the care center. Like, it does get kind of tough. Like, I'm watching Josh's playthrough and he's kind of struggling. So, and I think I like that. Like, you need some sort of struggle in the game to make it worthwhile or rewarding. You know, I think something with like Resident Evil Village, I think a lot of people didn't like because it kind of did end up being really easy after like the first little while of the game. So I think it's a good change that they made it a little bit more difficult. I think the switching between action and horror gameplay was done pretty phenomenally. It's very smooth, very clean, very well done. It doesn't come across as odd or out of place. It works really well. I think it's really good. I think the like inventory system is also really good. Like, it's like the RE2 style in Grace's part, and then like RE4 Village in Leon's part. Speaking of Leon's part, like the whole being able to upgrade your weapons, I think was a really good way. It was done really well in this game. Yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, I think this game is very, very, very solid. Like, there's not many cons about it. The only cons I really have about this game is more so like plot points. And like one, for example, I'll tell you one. I think like the Alyssa, it's not there, but like I think Alyssa's whole thing was kind of poorly done. Xeno's thing was kind of poorly done, and stuff like that. One thing I want to say, and I think the comments can help explain this part, because in my head it doesn't really make any sense. Okay, so you're gonna have to bear with me here. If you haven't played the game, or you haven't really watched it, you're probably not gonna understand what I'm saying. But okay, let's think about it for a second. We have Grace Ashcroft in this game. The whole kind of like thing that was happening in the orphanage was that they were creating clones of Grace, so then they could like experiment with that person. So you see like Emily and stuff, they look like Grace. So they were doing experiments with trying to clone Grace to then release Elpis, correct? Correct. And that part, like the orphanage part of the game, for example, that part takes place in February 1990. Yes? Yes. Okay? So they were cloning Grace from the 90s. But in Spencer's interview that we saw with Alyssa, he was holding a baby Grace. So she's only like 1 or 2 years old at that point, right? And we know in RE5 that Spencer dies in the year 2006. So let's assume that that interview happened a couple months or like a year before that interview, right? Meaning that would be like 2005-esque. Meaning that Grace was probably born in around 2003 or 2004, making her in this game like 22 years old or something like that. So how were they cloning Grace in the 90s when she wasn't even alive in the 90s? And how long has Spencer had Elpis for? That part of the game doesn't really make sense to me. If someone wants to explain in the comments, I will very gladly read that. I want to understand that a little bit more. But yeah, stuff like that. I don't really understand that. I think actually, I'm not going to say this is a con of the game. I think one thing that they didn't do, which I'm hopeful that they're going to do in RE10, is the bigger inclusion of legacy characters. Like in this game, we never get to see Chris in the flesh. We never see, Jill or Claire or Ada or Rebecca or Moira or like whoever you want to say. Like, none of them were really included in the game. Even like other Outbreak characters, they weren't included in this game. Like, I think that's one thing that they definitely missed out on that they could have done in this game. But as I said, I'm hopeful that they would do that in RE10. Again, also in RE10, I hope that this game, I hope they didn't drop all their bombs on Requiem, because it's the 9th installment, and usually like the 10th installment is meant to be like the biggest one. So I'm not 100% sure how they're gonna pull it off in RE10. Maybe we go back to the Spencer Mansion or something like that. I don't know. They could do something. And they could definitely bring back all the rest of the legacy characters. They can maybe kill off a character. I wouldn't want to see that personally. I know killing off characters is kind of like what you have to do once you have a series this long. But I think personally, they can kind of get away with it. I think they can personally, like, they don't need to kill off the enemy. I mean, they don't need to kill off the main characters. I think they can just leave them, you know? Just let them live good lives. Okay, yeah, I think that's about everything that I wanted to say about this game in terms of, like, my thoughts on it. I want to drop a quick theory on you lot on what may happen in the future in this game. But before that, I think this game I will rank. I'm going to add this onto my tier list. I think I would give this game as a rating. I think I would give it a very solid 9 out of 10. I think this is a very, very good game. There might be a couple of things here and there that I didn't fully like about the game. Again, this is still very fresh. I need to watch multiple rewatches of this series, play it myself to give it a better review. I might do an update video on this sometime in the future. But as of now, this sits as a 9 out of 10 game. S tier for sure. It's definitely up there. And if I had to rank it amongst the other Resident Evil games, currently this sits in 3rd place in my opinion. Still, I think RE8 is going to be my favorite Resident Evil game. That I just have a personal connection with that more than any of the other games, so that's why I'm putting it up there. And then second, I would put Resident Evil 4 Remake, just because it's just amazing. And then I think this game can sit 3rd right now. It definitely has the potential to go up as well. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It just needs some more time to build in my brain and in my heart for me to rank it up any higher. So right now in the tier list, I would put this game into the S tier right next to Resident Evil 4 Remake. Now I know what you're probably thinking. You're like, hey Ryan Memes, what's the theory you've been talking about in this video? Let me explain something to you. I genuinely think I have cracked the code on what Resident Evil DLC could potentially be, okay? Let me explain. Alright. I said I was going to talk about Hunk, right? Let's talk about Hunk. We have the boss fight with Hunk, right? We assumingly kill him off, right? But some of you may not know this, but if you go back to the room where you fought Hunk, like after you killed him, quote unquote, you can see that his body is no longer there, okay? Meaning he's probably alive. Meaning that Hunk probably got away with everything. And he could probably come back. My theory is, let's go back to Resident Evil 2 days. Resident Evil 2 Remake, even the original. There was a DLC in that game called 4th Survivor. It makes sense. How many survivors were there in RE2? 3. Leon, Claire, and Sherry. I guess if you want to count Ada, you can. But pretty much 4 survivors of Resident Evil 2, the 4th being Hunk, okay? Hunk's story in the 4th Survivor DLC is that he's a mercenary hired by Umbrella to obtain a sample of the G-Virus to bring him back to Umbrella, right? Right. So that's his whole point in Resident Evil 2 as the 4th Survivor DLC is to retrieve a sample as he works for Umbrella, okay? My theory is and that in this game, there could be a potential DLC called the 4th Survivor. Because how many survivors are there in this game? Leon, Grace, and Emily. 4th being Hunk. 4th Survivor. They could make another DLC of this game. And it could be that the connections this time, because the connections is a big part in this game. The connections hires Hunk to retrieve a sample of Elpis to bring it back to them so then they can re-engineer or reconstruct the virus or the antiviral and then actually turn it into a virus, which could then lead on to a whole string of other things. Tell me I'm not going crazy, right? That could actually be a potential future timeline in this game. It makes sense to me. It's like a continuation of RE2, the 4th Survivor. They do another 4th Survivor. It makes perfect sense to me. Unless, I mean, they might not do it, but, logically, it's actually a pretty good idea, okay? Capcom, if you're listening, if you want to hire me for your future game story plots, yeah, you can comment down below. You know, I hope you are, man. I think I can make a good story. But I think that's gonna end it off. This has been over half an hour. I've been ranting on like absolute crazy. I still got a lot of thoughts about the game that like I don't really know. Like I still gotta watch more gameplay of this game. I still gotta rewatch it and stuff, really get my full thoughts on the game, because the first time I watched it, it was a lot of hype, a lot of nostalgia tax that made me love the game as much as I do. So I'm wanting to go back and see, is it all just hype around this game, or is it actually a good video game? And that is a question that is still yet to be answered by me. But I will give you an update video sometime in the future, maybe a few months from now, and giving my newer thoughts on the game. But oh god, I just choked. I'm so sorry. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Subscribe to my other channels, AI Memes and Scrolling Lyrics, for even more content. The links to those channels are in my channel bio. Share this video with everyone you know. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss out when I upload. And since you made it to the end of this video, thank you very much, by the way. Leave a comment about what you liked about it, what you didn't like, and what you want to see from me next time. I'm taking any and all suggestions from you lot. Thank you so much for watching again. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Leave me your comments on your thoughts about this game. Positive or negative, I want to hear all about it. Okay, I want to know what you guys are saying about this game. I love it. I think most people love it. Thank you, Capcom, for creating a great game. That's all we can really say. And hopeful for potential. I think they said the next game is going to be like, I think they said it's going to be leaked, an RE1 remake potentially. So we'll see what's going on with that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching again. Hope you enjoy. Have a great rest of your day. And with that, I'll leave you to it. Bye bye.